Good morning. Well, as I said, I wanted to do a video to clarify one of the homeworks that I gave a couple of weeks ago, and that was I said to take your different characters and take a look at them and see what their end game is. In the doing of that myself, I realized that that was a little more difficult than I had thought, and then I realized that when I sat and really did the homework myself, that we have learned how to meditate, but we really haven't looked at how to contemplate. And so I think that this exercise is wonderful, and I'm calling it the creative and constructive contemplation. The way that we're going to do this is to, first of all, get yourself a little book, and its pages are blank. And it doesn't have to be any particular size, shape, or form, just something. And maybe you have something already, obviously you do, maybe. But anyway, then the next part of this is that you're going to have to set aside time, just like you do when you set aside time to meditate, or when you do the self-talk. And it is just like when you hit that button to record your meditations, all of a sudden you get present because you put the book in your lap or hands, or however you're going to write in it, and begin. And the thing that I want you to do is to write on the top of pages your different emotions that you have the most. This is, first of all, I really do want to say, this is not to negate any of the emotions or to lessen, let's see, what am I trying to say? We're not trying to eradicate the emotion. We're just looking at them. We're just observing them, okay? So when you write at the top of each page an emotion that you have that comes in and out of your life on a weekly, monthly basis, and most of us would have anger or fear or guilt, some of the regulars, but you're going to have some different ones, and maybe they don't even have names, just something that you experience, and that's what I came to as I went through these emotions, is that I had some of the things that settled in with me a lot. I couldn't quite put my finger on. But as I sorted through these, and we're going to talk about how, I began to kind of pick apart some of the things that go through my nervous system, if you will, and I could see them more clearly. Okay, so you write down at the top of the page, and then you begin with the first one, and you ask questions about it. For instance, what kinds of things, if it's anger, what kind of things do I get angry about? Is it mostly people, events, the results of something? But in order to do that, you're going to have to reflect back on something that you remember where you were at the time when you were in that emotion. And then I want you to ask yourself deeper questions. What did I want to happen? What did I feel like I was doing for myself? I'm not trying to get to what good did it do or anything like that, but just try to find out if there was anything else about that particular emotion that you could say. And what did it do for me? What did it not do for me? And then you move on to another emotion. You may come back to anger. And you'll find that the different, like fear is totally different in the sense that what am I afraid of? Is it lack of something, etc., etc.? And just keep writing until you can, how do I manifest fear, and does it does it go away when I and answer that? Take them to keep going to a deeper level with each one. Excuse me. And I loved some of the simpler things that, like guilt. What does it do for me? It punishes me. And do I feel like I need to be punished? And the questions and answers that come from this. And I loved also the second, I gotta look at my book because this is where I started with this. The complainer in us. And it was pretty simple. The complainer, my next line after that, wants things to get it fixed. Somebody fix it for me. And I just laughed when I came to that. And then the critic separates us from it and us. And, it most importantly places you on a different level than whatever it is that you're criticizing. You're basically saying, I'm better than that. And I think that that's an interesting thing to sit with. Anyway, so you're going to have 4, 5, 6 pages, maybe more, of titles at the top, and you're going to contemplate them. And it shouldn't take you more than about 30 minutes at the most, but don't let it go until you feel like you have come to something that is a little different than you thought about that, okay? Now, this is just step 1 of all of this. And then on the 30th, we'll talk about it, and then we'll bring it all the way to the root at home. And so please have fun with this. Let it be a part of your schedule for a while. Maybe it'll take a couple of sittings, but go through it. Ask good questions. Thank you. Have a great time. I've loved it. Now each time an emotion comes up for me, I go, wow, there that is. And it's so different to be an observer of it as opposed to being in the middle of it. Okay. Love you all. Namaste.